Anakin Skywalker finds himself at a critical moment, facing his former master, Obi-Wan Kenobi, in an epic duel in the hellish landscapes of Mustafar. The clash is intense, full of emotion and power, but the outcome does not favor the chosen one. After a fierce battle, Anakin is defeated, his arrogance and anger blinding his judgment, leaving him vulnerable to the final blow. Obi-Wan, though reluctant, follows the path he believes is the only one possible, leaving Anakin seriously wounded on the banks of a river of lava. The defeat is not just physical. Anakin feels the weight of his choices, his betrayal and his pain. Obi-Wan, devastated by the fight and the loss of the friend he once considered a brother, decides to leave the place. He leaves, leaving Anakin on the brink of death, unable to end the life of the man who was once his most promising apprentice. Obi-Wan carries the weight of guilt, believing that Anakin's fate was sealed, but he is unable to be the final executioner. His departure marks a point of no return, not only in Anakin's life, but also in the balance of the Force. The void left by this decision echoes across the galaxy. Darth Sidious, the Dark Master behind Anakin's downfall, arrives on Mustafar in search of his apprentice. What he finds is a broken body, barely recognizable as the once powerful Darth Vader. Sidious, however, feels no compassion. Instead, he sees Anakin as a disappointment, a flaw in his plans for galactic domination. Instead of saving him, the Emperor decides to abandon him to his fate, believing that Anakin's potential has been wasted. This act reveals Sidious' true nature. His loyalty is only to his own thirst for power, and not to any living being. Anakin, alone and on the brink of death, finds himself betrayed by all those he trusted. In the midst of pain and despair, something awakens within him, a primitive force for survival. He refuses to accept death as his destiny. With monumental effort, Anakin begins to crawl, driven by the will to live and the desire for revenge. Every movement is a struggle against pain, against the weight of his injuries, but he doesn't give up. The determination that once drove him to be a great Jedi now guides him out of the ashes of Mustafar. Even weakened, Anakin manages to reach his ship and program it for Tatooine, the planet where it all began. The journey is arduous, but when he reaches his destination, he finds unexpected help in Owen Lars, his half-brother. Owen, who has always taken a critical view of Anakin, sees the state he is in and decides to help him. Anakin is taken to a makeshift medical facility, where he receives intensive treatment and new prosthetic limbs. The recovery is long and painful, but Tatooine offers the peace and isolation he needs to start reflecting on his choices and his future. After a year of recovery and reflection, Anakin travels to Ilum, the sacred planet of the Jedi, where he decides to reconnect with the Force in a way he has never done before. He spends months in deep meditation, facing his inner demons, revisiting his choices and asking himself what it means to be the one. During this time, Anakin builds a new lightsaber, a symbol of his renewed connection to the Force. This saber, however, is different from all the others he has wielded. It is a representation of his new determination to find redemption. After his journey on Ilum, Anakin returns to Naboo, eager to meet Padme again and ask for forgiveness. However, he is confronted with an even greater tragedy: Padme's death. The news tears him apart, throwing him into an abyss of sadness and guilt. He realizes that his actions have led to the destruction not only of his life, but also of those he loved most. This moment of loss serves as a catalyst, driving him to seek redemption in a way he had never considered before. His pain is transformed into a new purpose. On Naboo, Anakin crosses paths with Mace Windu, a Jedi he believed to be dead. Mace, harsh and just, is not inclined to forgive Anakin, but sees him as a lost soul in search of redemption. Anakin, deeply repentant, kneels before Mace and begs for forgiveness, offering his life in exchange for helping to rebuild the Jedi Order. Mace, hesitant, sees the sincerity in Anakin's heart and, recognizing the power of genuine repentance, decides to give him a chance. This unlikely alliance marks the beginning of a new era for both of them. Determined to put an end to the Empire, Anakin and Mace Windu set off for Coruscant, the heart of Sith power. There, Anakin confronts his former master, Sidious, in a final showdown. The duel is fierce, a battle of wills and abilities that tests the limits of both. Anakin, now strengthened by his new understanding of the Force and the clarity of his mission, overcomes Sidious. With one final blow, he puts an end to the Emperor's reign, destroying the tyrant who had manipulated him for so long. With Sidious' death, the Empire begins to crumble. After defeating Sidious, Anakin returns to Tatooine for an emotional encounter with Obi-Wan Kenobi. Both men have changed profoundly since their last battle on Mustafar. Anakin, now a broken man but with a new vision, asks Obi-Wan for forgiveness. The former master sees the sincerity in Anakin's eyes and, although the wound of his betrayal still hurts, he begins to forgive him. This meeting marks the beginning of a new phase in their relationship, where instead of adversaries, they become allies in a greater mission, the restoration of the Jedi Order. During his stay on Tatooine, Anakin discovers something that completely changes his life. He is the father of twins, Luke and Leia. The initial shock gives way to deep emotion, and Anakin decides that he will do anything to be the father he never had. This revelation further strengthens his desire for redemption. For now he has more than just his own honor to restore. He has a family to fight for. The weight of his responsibilities guides him on a new path, where he seeks not only to protect his children, but also to teach them not to make the same mistakes as him. Anakin settles on Tatooine with his children, with the help of Owen Lars. He begins to train Luke and Leia in the Jedi arts, teaching them not only combat skills, but also the importance of emotional balance and wisdom. Obi-Wan, who is closely watching Anakin's progress, decides to help train the children, offering guidance and support. Together, Anakin and Obi-Wan seek to build a new generation of Jedi, one that learns from the mistakes of the past and strives to maintain peace in the galaxy. With the fall of Sidious, the Empire begins to dismantle itself, and the Jedi, once almost extinct, have the opportunity to rebuild. Anakin, now a man reborn, leads the reconstruction of the Jedi Order, learning from its past failures and seeking to create a more just and balanced order. The galaxy, tired of war and oppression, begins to see in Anakin a symbol of hope and renewal. This new role that Anakin takes on is proof that even the most lost can find their way back to the light. Anakin, now determined to rebuild the Jedi Order, travels with Mace Windu to Dagobah in search of the legendary Master Yoda. They need his wisdom and experience to rebuild the Jedi Council and ensure that the mistakes of the past are not repeated. Yoda, who remained in exile after the rise of Sidious, sees in Anakin a chance for redemption, not only for himself, but for the entire Jedi Order. With Yoda's return, a new era of Jedi training begins, where the focus is on balancing the Force and preventing the return of the dark side. Finally, after years of struggle and redemption, Anakin joins Obi-Wan, Mace Windu, and Yoda to restore the Jedi Council. They rebuild the Jedi Order, now with a new philosophy, more aware of the dangers of the dark side and the mistakes that led to its near extinction. Anakin is finally recognized as a Jedi Master, a title he has sought all his life, but which he now carries with humility and wisdom. His journey of redemption is a powerful reminder that, no matter what darkness one may fall into, there is always a chance to return to the light.